Please note that in this show, you may hear graphic descriptions or language that may not be appropriate for everyone. Listener discretion advised. Welcome to Parentless Podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Relaford. On the show, we're going to be speaking with others who have experienced the loss of one or both of their parents or their parental figures. As we heard in episode 12 with Louisa Velarde, being parentless is like an island, and I don't know how to swim. Thank you for being my life jacket. Today, I'm so excited to bring you a special episode. My husband's name is Derek, and he has a show called the Elkhart Tapes. In the show, he talks with members of Southwest Kansas, and they just talk about life. He spoke with Mingo Rey Aranda, and they talked about his mom, Chris, his love for horses, and all things Southwest Kansas. I reached out to Mingo, and he gave me the thumbs up to go ahead and air this show with Parentless Podcast. I appreciate it, Mingo. Thank you so much, and thank you, Derek. Take it away.
The deal with my mom was really hard, and a lot of us are still. I mean, it's just really hard to deal with, you know. And them two older cousins, they're the two oldest cousins, and they stepped up, you know, and they were like, you know, we're going to talk on behalf of the cousins because I know that they can't. So, you know, they always look out for us. They go back and forth checking on family. So, yeah, we got some good family, man.
The safe word on this show is cheeseburger. I know, like, losing your mom is, I wouldn't say it was hard on you. I'd say it's still hard on you, probably. Was that something that sort of happened pretty quickly? Like, did you have like any time to process before, like, okay, my mom might pass away soon, or did she just sort of pass away one day?
Well, what happened was, it was a sudden deal, you know. My mom had an addiction. She liked to drink, you know, and, I would say that, you know, addiction, I just don't really know what to say about it. I really don't, because I've been an addict, you know. I've had several family members that are addicts, you know, and with my mom, you know, that deal was tough because, one day I would go every morning. I worked at Seaward, and I would go every morning and I would drink coffee with her, and I would sit down and eat breakfast with her. Well, one morning I missed, you know, and every morning she called me, "Hey, where you at? How come you didn't come?" You know, and, that morning my dad called me and he said, Hey, something's not right with your mom. You need to get over here. And I said, I thought he was joking around because, you know, my dad jokes a lot. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, oh, hey, no, I'm serious. You need to get here. So I had showed up, and when I showed up, my mom was confused. She was calling me Jimmy. She was not herself. And she's like, I'm scared. Can you take me to the hospital? And, so I was like, yeah, get in the car. Let's go. So we take off and we go, to the hospital over in Elkhart. You know, I mean, I'm not real big on Elkhart's hospital, you know, but I will tell you that they were the Kaganen was the only doctor that had been right from the whole time until this day. I'll tell you, he was right about everything. We get there and my mom's just scared, you know, she's confused. And I mean, I knew it was her drinking problem. There was nothing else wrong with my mom. You know, all she did was drink beer. She didn't drink liquor. She didn't drink nothing else. She just drank beer. Bud Light. That's all she would do. And so I get there, and then, one of the new doctors walked out, and I grabbed him by the arm. And, you know, I mean, when I'm worried, I'm an aggressive person, just like him, but this is my mom. I was like, hey man, don't bullshit me. I said, don't give me no shit. I don't want to hear nothing. I want you to tell me right now what's wrong with my mom. And he was like, she's got cirrhosis, you know, and, you need to get her to somebody who knows what they're doing, you know, a bigger hospital. I'm like, well, what can I do? He's like, I don't know, but if you don't get her there, if you don't figure it out, you know, I give her 3 or 4 months. And I'm like, you know, to take that in, cause the day before we were joking around playing, you know, and to take that in, and I was by myself, you know, so I kind of just sat down and, I was like, damn, man, you know, I'm the older brother. If you know me and my family, I'm the one that kind of carries them. You know what I mean? They're not like me. And, so I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to do it, you know? And so they put her in the hospital, and she got a little bit better where she was able to get out. And then it just kept happening. Like, you know, if you're familiar with cirrhosis, her ammonia levels in her body had gotten too high where she couldn't actually mentally function, you know? So it was hard to see my mom not being able to talk to me, not nothing. So I put it in my head, and Derek, I'm the type of person that I won't give up. You can ask anybody in my family. I will not give up. And so I got on the phone, I got on the ball, and I tried to figure it out. Well, they had given her some medicine to kind of keep her ammonia levels down, and she was doing okay, but then she had another episode. So then I didn't take her to Elkhart. I took her to Liberal, and from there we flew out. And that's when I found the answers, and I found out that she had cancer, and she was diagnosed with end-stage liver cirrhosis, and she was diagnosed with cancer. So then and there, I knew it was going to be a battle. I knew it was. I knew it was going to be a battle. And see, the KU Medical will not donate a liver to a person who's an addict unless they've taken 6 months of AA recovery. So we were kind of like in a timeline, and we had talked to the cancer doctor, and they were going to give her a liver transplant. So we were kind of on this deal where we were on a timeline. So I had to get my mom. I had to get my mom to AA. I had to get her to the doctor, and the cancer doctor had to control her cancer, and we had to beat it all in like one timeline. So, and we were pretty close. I mean, we were within that 6 months whenever the cancer spread all over her body. But I mean, it was a battle, and this was a time when I really needed people in my life, because it was a struggle. It was a struggle with my mom. I had to see my dad. My dad is tough. My dad's a really tough man. And I had to see him struggle. I had to see my sister, my brothers, just sad. And I had to keep the motivation in that family going, or not, we would have given up, So I was tired. I was driving all the way to Kansas City, which was 9 hours, coming back, going to work, coming back, taking care of my family, my wife, my kids. And it was hard. It was really hard. So the hardest part was the regret, seeing my mom regret drinking. You know what I mean? Because it was too late, and I had to take them long drives with her, and she would tell me, she's like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And I'm like, don't tell me you're sorry, because it's okay. My mom had a rough life, and some people, they drink to get that crap out of their head, or to go to another place, they don't want to be thinking about all their normal lives because it's so hard. Yeah. So I'm not saying that was an excuse. I'm just saying that that's what my mom did to escape, and in the end it cost her life. So, I mean, them were some hard days, Eric, man. They were some hard days, and to people who are battling that right now, nobody really knows what it's like until they go through it, especially losing a parent. Oh man, it's really hard. I still wake up crying at middle of the night. I still feel my mom. I feel my mom's presence with me. And I'm glad that God gave me to her as long as I did have her, because, she really was there for me and everything. So it was really hard.
Man, some people just can't, life's too heavy sober, man. And I'm one of them, man. I don't drink alcohol because I know that's how that story ends, but I mean, I'll admit I smoke cannabis all day, man. I'm in a legal state. It's a doctor, but me, just not on anything, the world's heavy, man. And I'm, your mom had her demons and everything she had to deal with, so I feel like there's a lot of people that judge an addict, oh, you just want to be messed up all the time. And it's they don't want to be messed up. They want to be normal. They want to just feel okay. They just want to feel okay. So your mom's expressing regret and stuff. So you're raised by a mom. And I know obviously everybody in your family loves your mom. She's like the pin in your family. Mm-hmm. Being raised by a mom who's partying, and I say partying, but I mean just somebody who's drinking. At what age did you realize that was probably not a good thing when you would see her Bud Light consumption throughout the day?
That's the thing, is that for me, it was normal, because my mom would only get out of hand, within the family, you know what I mean? She wasn't, and everybody knew around the town, they knew what Chris was like, my mom, Chris, what she was like sober, and they knew what she was like when she was drinking. And that soberness, the way she was, overweighed the drinking pretty much everybody just kind of ignored it, you know? And my mom, I just never, I mean, I would beg her and tell her, please, Mom, quit drinking. Cause, you know, I was always worried about her. And, you know, me, myself, I don't drink. I might have a beer here and there, you know, but I'm not, and you can ask anybody in my family, I just don't drink. You know, I used to party a lot, used to do a lot of stupid shit, but, you know, I feel like in my mind, I wouldn't want my kids to have that kind of pain, you know, that I went through. And it would be hard, you know, cause I could tell you right now, if I started drinking and I started doing stuff like that, what would my kids, what would my family do? You know, who's going to take care of them? You know, and I couldn't do that to them. And I'm not mad at her. I'm not mad at my mom at all. I never held a grudge. I never, none of that, because I understood why she drank. I understood what her pain was, you know, and I had taken her, I mean, to kind of tell you a little story about how my mom was, you know, and it's kind of it's a funny story, but you know, that's how my mom was. You know, my mom went to jail 3 days before she passed away.
That's
and I mean, so I'm at work and Isaiah calls me. He's like, hey man, you wouldn't believe where mom's at. I was like, what? Where's she at? And he goes, she's in jail. And I said, she's in jail? And he goes, yeah. He goes, she took off in the car. So my mom, and I don't know, you know, I've gotten more spiritual. I've gotten more religious with the passing of my mother, because so many things that I had seen and went through were just so religious to me, and they just, you know, spiritual to me. And a preacher had told me, you know, sometimes people, when they feel like they're going to pass away, they want to escape and they do something crazy, you know? Well, I think that's what she did, you know? And she got in the car, took off, and you know how you get to that turn right there when you're going to go to Liberal, the end, and you took her turn, you go back to the south, you go to Liberal. Right there in that little curve, she stopped, and a lady hit her on the rear-ended her, and they ended up arresting my mom because she didn't have a license. Now, so we had to go bail her out and go take her home, and you know, she was scared. She thought I was gonna get mad at her, and I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? And she was like, oh, I just wanted to get a caldo de res, which is a soup of beef soup and Mexican beef stew. And I said, well, you could have just called me and I would have taken you. She goes, no, I just wanted to leave, you know? So, you know, she was, you know, and to me, that's the strongest woman that I'd ever seen in my life, because towards the ending of the passing of my mom, it was last week, so I stayed with her. The family stayed with my mom, you know, and I would talk to her a lot, you know, and I would ask her questions. And she looked over at me one night, and I was sitting on the couch, and she said, hey, I just really don't want you to be here when I die. And I said, what do you mean you don't want me to be here? She goes, I just don't want you to see it. You know, and that's the conversation that me and her were having. And can you imagine that kind of conversation of a mother and a son having that kind of conversation? That'd probably be the hardest thing for my mom to say to her son. Hey, I don't want you to see me die, you know? And you know, that was really hard. And then she was tough, you know, she was tough. And me, through all this time, Derek, I was having a hard time, you know, because I was frustrated. I was really tired. Like I was just so mentally, physically exhausted from driving, taking her to the doctor. And it's hard. So I give props to any family member out there that is dealing with a family member that is ill, because it weighs a lot on the family. You know, every single person, you know, having to take them to the doctor while you still have to have a job, because of course nobody's going to pay your bills unless you're rich. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you have to take them to the doctor. You have to be a support. You have to support them, you know, and it's hard. It's hard on the family. You know, people fight, people argue, and not because they mean to, it's just because they're stressed out, you know? Yeah. So with my mom, you know, I'll never forget it. I get home and, you know, Selena looks at me and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, man, I'm just physically and mentally stressed out right now. I just can't do this anymore. I'm just so stressed out. So she goes to bed and she's like, well, I'm going to go to bed. And I said, okay, well, I'm just sit on the couch for a little bit. And I walked out and I went to the backyard and I dropped to the knees, Derek, and I prayed and I looked up to the sky and I said, God, listen to me. Please listen to me. If you're going to take my mom, just do it now. Don't make her suffer. Don't let her suffer. Do it now. I'm tired, you know, and within that few time, you know, that's when she declined and then she ended up passing away. So I think, you know, God was like, okay, you know, it's time. It's her time. I'm going to bring her home, you know? So, and I believe my mom, she's right. She was right with God. She was a good person. She would help the poor. She would go, you know, those, I don't know if you're familiar, but over here we have like a drive for the, for the churches. And what they do is they gather a whole bunch of food for the churches, canned food, box food, bread, stuff like that. Right. So my mom would get in a car, no driver's license, because she already had like 12 driving without a license. She's already been charged 12 times. She would drive down to the church, load up the back of the car with all that free food, and drive around Raleigh and deliver it to people who needed it. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that she was actually going to the church, and the church was giving her the food for her, but she was turning around and taking it to people around the town. And how I knew that was the day that my mom passed away. A Mexican lady had walked up to me. She said, "Hey, I don't know, you don't know me, but we known your mom for a lot of years. She would bring us food." And see, those kind of things afterwards, after she had passed away, Derek, I was like, man, she was an angel. You know, she really was an angel. She did help a lot of people out.
What was, so, you know, she dies of cancer, cirrhosis. So obviously she drank late into her life, but I'm guessing whenever she found out, like, hey, this isn't working anymore physically, like your body's shutting down from this behavior, I'm guessing she doesn't drink anymore. What was that like, having like the last, you know, 3 to 6 months with your mom where she wasn't, you know, intoxicated. It was just you and her, and she was as sober as whatever, besides what the doctors were giving her, which obviously if she was probably in a lot of pain, but still like not intoxicated from drinking alcohol. What was that like? And I guess my second question for that was like, where was she at as far as mortality and everything? Was she angry that she was dying? Was she scared that she was dying? Like where did she feel fit on that whole thing?
See, that's the thing, is that, you know, that's why I was, you know, I say that she was probably the toughest person I've ever met in my life, because, and I'm so blessed to have had a tough mom, because she never let her emotions come out. And I know I knew it was, the day that the day, my mom, they had flown her back up to Kansas City, and I was at work. I had run out of PTO time. I didn't have no vacation time, so I had to stay at work, or I wasn't going to be able to feed my family. And so I'm at work. I'm waiting to hear from the doctors up there. And you know what? KU Medical was the best place I could ever take in my mom. Honestly, that hospital was just great. And so I'm sitting there waiting, and then I finally get a hold of my mom, and she's just bawling. And I'm like, what's going on, Mom? She's like, they just told me that there's nothing that they can do. And I'm like, they told you that when you're by yourself, you know? And it was hard because she was by herself. Like, how do you deal with somebody telling you, hey, from going from 3-4 months ago to walking around, nothing going on, to going to the hospital, somebody saying, hey, there's nothing we can do to help you, and this is where we're at, you know? So, and she had to sit up there for 8 hours before I got up there to actually, you know, see somebody, her son, you know?
Yeah.
So, and she didn't show any emotion. When we get there, I walk in the room, she's got a smile on her face. Yeah. And she only had a smile on her face because me and Isaiah had showed up, you know?
Yeah.
And so it was really hard. You know, Isaiah, he was the baby. So for him, you know, he just didn't really, you know, say nothing. He just cried, you know, and me, I had to, Derek, had to be the tough one.
Yeah. I
had to show that, you know, and that's what my mom wanted. I mean, I had my breakdowns, and I have my breakdowns, you know, but I just got it. You know, my mom told me, you know, keep going forward. Don't give up. A week before they had sent her to, up there, we had a talk, and I told her, I looked at her straight in the eyes and I said, Mom, you do know there's a 50-50 chance. She goes, yeah. And I said, so we need to have a talk. She goes, I know we do. I said, you tell me what you want me to do. And she goes, what I want you to do. And don't, you know, out of everything, she says, I don't want you to sell your horses. And I started laughing. I said, why didn't you? She goes, because I know how much you love your horses. And I said, I know, Mom. She said, yeah. She goes, just keep doing your thing, you know, keep racing your horses. You know, I know how bad you really want them horses. And I said, okay. And she goes, she goes, I want my funeral to be all yellow. And her favorite color was yellow.
Mine too, man.
And then she said, I want you to just keep doing what you're doing. And she said, you take care of your daddy. And I said, I will, Mom. And then she told me, she said, and then everything in my house, she said, you don't take nothing from my house. You leave it there for your daddy. And I said, I'm not going to take nothing from there, Mom. And she goes, and, that's it. She said, so, and she said, you take care of your brother and your sister and your brothers and make sure everything's okay. So that talk, I'm glad that we had it, because we needed to have had that. And, me having that time with her when she was sober, I mean, even though she was in the doctor's office, we were still always laughing and playing, she didn't ever let it down. She hung it all the way through, and I can't imagine how she felt. Like, I got to act like I'm okay so that my kids, her feelings, she put them to the side so that she could make us happy and comfortable. Do you know what I mean? So it was really hard, and it's still hard. And then we lost our grandpa a month before we had lost her. So it went boom, boom, and then we lose my grandma, Maria, so I hope it chills out for a little bit, man, because in funerals and all that crap, I can't handle it no more.
Yeah, man.
It's hard.
So Maria, that was a COVID-19 situation, right?
Well, she had a lot of health problems, and to be honest with you, if she probably wouldn't have got the COVID, then she'd probably still be right now fine.
Yeah, but so was that a situation? Because like that was when she got it. That was pretty much around the time that we still don't know anything that's going on, but especially then, nobody knew anything. Whenever you find out that she has COVID, like, are you just immediately like assuming the worst at that point, knowing she has health issues? And like, if you turn on the TV, it says if you get it, you're going to die, basically. Like, what did that do to your family? And like, what was that whole situation like, knowing that she was being, she was sick by something that was like something that's, it's like it wasn't like the flu or something. It's something that's going to be written about in history books for the rest of the time. She was taken out in this COVID-19 thing that happened in 2020. What was that like, having it hit that close to home and one of your most beloved members of your family?
That deal right there, it's just, oh man. My grandma Maria spent a lot of time over there in Amarillo with Armida, my Aunt Armida. And spent a lot of time. She basically lived there, and with Mono, Denise, Adriana, and Brianna. And so she was over there all the time, And then she ended up staying with my Uncle Jesse. And my Uncle Jesse, my Aunt Nana, they took care of her for a while, and that COVID kind of just passed around. And so at that point in time, everybody's kind of keeping contact through messaging, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so nobody's really being able to see her like they want to be able to see her, you know what I mean? And so it was a deal where we were just relaying messages. Mono called me, hey man, she's not doing good. This is what's going on. I'd message my Armida, hey, how things going? She said, oh, it's not good. And then from you're looking at a lady that had been ran over, had been everything, all the heart surgeries that she had had. This lady was tough. This lady's tough. And, one of the tough, another one that just, every time I seen that lady, she'd say, are you working? What are you doing? Are you, where are you working at? Because you can't be lazy. She always told me that you can't be lazy in this world, and in this world, we got to work every single day. That was her mentality to me, And everybody in this family, we all had our own little thing with my mom, and it was just hard to me at the beginning. Whenever this COVID started going on, I was like, man, it's just a bunch of crap, a bunch of stupid crap. And then towards the progression, I start seeing a lot of family members getting really sick. I'm like, shit, then it started scaring me, and even to the fact where. I stayed home a lot, and then we weren't having no horse races. That was another thing. We weren't having no horse races. So we were actually, losing a lot of money, because these horses have still got to be fed.
Yeah.
So we just, it was really hard, and my family, the Aranda family, the Morales family, all of them, you know, they came together no matter what. And I love every one of them. And I hope that they know that.
Yeah.
And even the ones I don't see, I love every one of you guys. And it's just a sad deal, you know. But man, that woman lives in our hearts, you know. And I still catch myself till this day, you know, some of the things she's told me, and it comes in my head, you know, and I just start laughing, you know.
Yeah.
Because I lived with her for a little time too. I lived with her in Elkhart with her, and she'd always come in there and tell me to make my bed and get my ass up out of bed, and that we're not gonna be lazy here. Get to work.
Yeah.
Tough lady.
So you lose your grandpa, you lose your mom, you lose your grandma, and then you know, you and I are super close or anything. I keep up in contact with you, but I know that horse racing is kind of like your thing. That's like, if it's not your wife, your kids, and, you know, your family, it's horse racing.
Yeah, that's my deal right there, man.
What was your mental health state like, knowing that you're coming off of 3 very tough deaths? And then the one thing that you know that works as far as you can go to a race, and during that brief moment when those horses are running full speed, you forget your mom died, you forget your grandma. You know, it's like you get to, what was it like having to deal with all of that, and then they take away the one thing that you look forward to sort of escape from reality?
See, but that's, you know, in that sense right there, okay, so these horses that I got, they got a story to them. You know, my Uncle Raymond, and my dad, my Uncle Jesse, my Uncle Raymond, you know, Uncle Junior, they started the foundation of this horse racing. You know, my Aunt Norma, my aunts, every one of them had their hand in this horse racing business, right? So it's a legacy that lives in the Aranda name, and it's our name. You know, this Southwest Kansas, it's you know, I've watched these people do it for all their lives. You know, I've learned so much from them. And then for a time there, we stopped racing horses, you know. So for a minute there, you know, my Uncle Raymond, he had some tough horses whenever I was younger, right? Because I used to watch him win all the time. Uh-huh. And from it stopping and then getting picked up and it picking up and me grabbing a hold of the reins, you know, and my dad. And we started doing really good, you know. And then, boom, Mom gets sick. And so I'm like, you know, I can't. And she would tell me, she said, you know, just don't give up on your dream, because my mom knows this is my dream. This is my dream. It's been my dream since I could walk. And she said, don't give up. Don't give up. Keep doing what you're doing, you know. And so at that point in time, I had actually sent my horses. When Mom got sick, I sent my horses to a friend of mine. And so that they didn't actually, you know, stop running. And see, the horse that I got right now, the black one, that horse right there, he has a lot of meaning to this family. You know what I mean? Because my mom was alive when I got him. My mom was there when we got him. My mom was right beside me. She loved him, fell in love with him. And then, so he is kind of like, I'm doing it for her. You know what I mean? So when I win, I look up in the sky and I can feel my mom just smiling. Yeah. You know, in high school, I was a real athlete. You know, I did a lot of track, I did a lot of football, and my mom was my biggest coach, or my biggest fan. You know what I mean? I mean, she would scream and scream and scream and scream and scream, "Go, Miko, beat them all," you know? So, she was my biggest fan. And in horse racing, she was my biggest fan too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so my grandma Maria as well, I remember her taking me in her little white van to my aunt Norma had a track here in Sublette, and we would drive together and we'd ride together. And I actually lived here in Satana with my aunt Norma. And we would go out there to the track every day. We'd go clean, take care of our horses and stuff like that. So this whole deal is they pass away, and I'm like, I got to keep moving forward. You know what I mean? I can't give up. And this little black horse that I got, I mean, he is the foundation of how good I am doing right now. I give it to him. I really do. I give all that glory to that horse right there, because it's weird because Mom passes away, you know, but he feels that emptiness, kind of like, you know, I'm here for you, you know, because in my mind, these horses they're family. To me, they're family. He knows
your mom's not there anymore for sure.
Yeah, like, they know that sense. They know it. Horses can sense it, you know. And Isaiah took it hard. Isaiah would go out to the farm and he would actually go into the stall with the horse and he would sit in the corner and he would just cry. And that horse, this horse, Danny Boy, would actually go up to him and sit there with him because he knew he was upset, you know. And that, in that sense, you know, we actually we tried to keep it and piece it together, you know, and keep this family together. Let's keep moving forward. Let's keep going. They want us to do it for them. You know, one of my grandma's last words were, keep racing your horses. You know, échale ganas. Let's just keep racing horses. So, I mean, and this horse racing, you know, I have a lot of, this is a deal where I have so many people to thank. I have so many people in my life that are supportive in my life. You know, I have a good group of guys that help me. I have really good partners, and I have people that have been and they know who they are. They have become family to me, you know, through this horse business, and it's doing really well. You know, we're up, we're down, but we love doing it. You know, so it's a good deal. You know, and I say to my family, to everybody out there, we got more to come. There's more to come from this Aranda racing legacy, you know, and in memory of my grandma, Maria Aranda, memory of my mom, memory of my grandpa, we're going to keep going forward.
We'll be right back.
If you have a story you'd like to share, please give me a call at 623-396-6069. You can leave a voicemail because I am busy and I will not be answering that phone call, so please don't worry about that. You can also send me a letter at parentlesspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again for taking the time to stop in. If you'd like to support the show and have access to exclusive content, please visit www.patreon.com/parentlesspodcast.
Well, let me ask you this, man. Like, when do the Arandas get into horse racing, and like, how does that come to be? Like, somebody just went to a race one day and got hooked, or like, how does the Arandas get associated with horse racing?
See, it all from the stories that I've been told a lot of stories, you know, and it goes back all the way back to my grandpa, my Patrini. You know, he was the one that was the horse guy, and then it kind of just, you know, that was, to me, that's as far as I know. You know, and it just kind of spread out. Dad, what I remember as a kid, my dad trained horses, and my Uncle Raymond was our jockey, actually. And so my Uncle Jesse was out there, my Uncle Junior was out there, and they all rode horses. They all had their hand in it, you know what I mean? And I never realized as a kid how big it was, you know, and us, you know, coming into a kind of an all-white community, you know, and then racing in an all-white community, and doing well and performing well, you know, back in the 80s, you know, was a big deal. My dad had some really tough horses back then, you know, and he had a tough team, and it was all Arandas, you know, and we had some good horses. Alan Daves, I don't know if you know who Alan Daves is. His dad died in an accident. And Tracy Daves, I do believe his name is, and he was actually good friends with my Uncle Raymond and my dad and them, and they had horse business and stuff like that going on since we were little. So these guys built the foundation, you know what I mean, and they had tough horses and they were tough to beat. And so that's where you know all of them had a hand in it. So
yeah. So so I know you love it. Horse racing is, you know, it's just kind of your thing now. Are you actually getting on this thing and you're racing it?
No, I'm too big, man. I just
because I always see you standing next to the dude on the horse, so I kind of figured it was like your horse and you're kind of like the manager of the situation. But so you're basically like the guy who, it's your horse, you're making the decisions. How do you go about picking a rider? Like how do you do that?
Well, see, I have a group of guys that help me out. You know, I have a group of guys from Amarillo, and it's like, to me, what it reminds me of is, you ever watch Fight Club?
Yeah.
Okay, Fight Club. Well, what happens in Fight Club stays in Fight Club. You know what I mean? That's how it is, and that's how this match racing is. You know, it's a group of guys that just, you know, they stay to themselves. It's, you know, everybody against everybody. You know, and we give it all we got. And so I got a group of guys that help me out with it. You know, I got a guy that's out there, you know, all the time taking care of these horses, you know what I mean? And me, I just kind of, you know, manage it a little bit where we're going to do, where we're going to go, as far as my horses,
Yeah.
Because there's other horses there as well, and there's other owners, you know what I mean? And, these horses, you can ask anybody, man. Derek, I stay up till 2, 3 in the morning watching race replays, and I pay attention to everything and watch them over and over and over again. And I mean, I got lucky. I picked a good one, and I've gotten lucky, been blessed. And, it's to me, it's the match racing. I love it, but the real money's at the track, the official track. And that's where I'm going to end up, and that's where I'm eventually be, and it just takes time to get there, baby steps, but we'll get there. And, we're going to be doing some big things, you're looking at a person that lived in Raleigh, Kansas, a population of 400 people, and racing against some of the top and the best of Texas, Mm-hmm. And this horse I won, he's won 10 races, and big races, and not just little ones, so he's proven his point, and they know his name now. And, I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud of the group of guys that I got behind me. There's just a lot of things going on right now, and I'm hoping that this year just, blows up for me. We traveled to Tyler, Texas, on Saturday, and we raced over there. We didn't get the win. He came in second, and it's just a lot of traveling on these horses. They travel 7 hours in a trailer, and then getting out, just a whole change of scenery for them. They're like us, if they're not feeling it that day, they're not going to run. But, they ran their races, and we're very proud of them, and they did their thing. Now we're going to have a rematch, come back to Amarillo in May 30th, and then we'll see what happens then when they come to our house.
So, and you're seeing a lot of the same you're seeing most of the same racers when you're doing like this Texas circuit, like you're seeing a lot of the same people on these weekends?
No. We've been, at first we're around in this area, and everybody around this area, we know each other. We went to a whole different area. It was a whole different ball game for us. Uh-huh. We had the group of guys that I'm with, they had never been to this place. And neither have I. To me, it's like going from JV jumping up to the professionals,
Yeah.
So you're looking at a whole different deal, you're looking at a whole big jump. And, we came a long way, and I'm very, very proud of the people that I'm with. I've got a guy that he is out there every single day with these horses. And it's a team. It's not just one person. You know what I mean? It's a team. These guys, I'm telling you, they are family. They act like family. They're out there 24/7. They do not leave these horses alone for one bit. You would think, some people, the care of these horses is just ridiculous how they take care of them. You know what I mean? It's just, really good care. Baby. We spend more money on these horses than we do on ourselves, just to make sure, because they're an investment, and then they're family. We want to make sure that they're taken care of,
Yeah.
I'm a big animal lover. I just don't love horses. I love every animal. But this is my passion, you know what I mean? And that little black horse, man, he means the world to me, and everybody will tell you he means the world to me. And it's fun. It really is. And my family, they get involved. My wife, she's there with me on the days that she can be there. She's been real supportive. She's she's a hell of a woman.
Yeah.
And I've been very blessed with this racing career, and we got more to come there. It's going to get bigger, I hope, and we're going to do big things.
And now you're going to throw your hat into the live stream realm. What has been your vision as far as what you want to accomplish by, getting out in social media land and sort of show people what your team is doing over the computer? So, it's a whole new world. Right now you're going out and you're doing these races. People in that world are seeing you, but there's a lot of people online that would love to see what you're doing, that are similar interested. What has been like your, what do you think your goal is for getting into live streaming?
Well, what in that sense there, I was trying to, get kind of everybody's view of kind of what we're doing, not the personal stuff, because that's stuff that you just, secret, stay secrets,
Yeah. But go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as, other people knowing what we're doing, and what's going on with the racing and stuff, a lot of these guys, they depend on this horse racing. You know what I mean? It's their life.
Mm-hmm.
It really is their life. Some of these guys don't have any other job. This is what they do. Some do, some work, some don't, and, this, when COVID hit, we weren't able to race. We weren't able to do things. And what it did was it just put a kind of a dent in everybody. So, and then you got some guys like us. We're not a bunch of guys that got lots of money, so when you lose a race, it hits hard.
Yeah.
So it's like you're preparing, and you got to prepare for these next races that come up, and you're putting everything and every penny together. And then, but when you hit, you know what I mean? When you win, it helps a whole bunch. So it's like this, okay, you got to figure out these horses. You got to figure them out. You got to figure out what they're eating, what they're thinking, how they're acting, how they're doing things, and then you got to go out there and you got to compete with the same guys that are doing the same thing. Cause this is how we live. This is how we eat.
Mm.
So, I kind of want to get everybody get that kind of view of what we're doing, and how people around the area, how they've been impacted with this coronavirus and how it's changing everything. Another thing too, that they have a big sale every year. They have certain sales for the horses that they sell them. Well, this year it was really high because everybody's getting into this racing. You got guys that really don't know nothing about horse racing, but they go out and they buy a $20,000-$30,000 horse, because they want to compete too. And so there's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of things that are going on. And I kind of just want to catch that little bit, talk to some guys and say, how you guys doing with your race, and how, cause I can tell you that my racing's, it's doing good.
Yeah.
We've been doing good things. We have ups and downs, but we don't know what's going on with these other guys,
Yeah.
So, and some guys talk and some guys don't, me, I'm a talkative person. Everybody knows how I am. And, so I just kind of want to get out there and talk. They already have a bunch of podcasts going on with people, different areas and stuff like that. And it's really big. I mean, these guys got followers all over the place. They're racing in Georgia. They're racing in California. They're racing in Texas. They're racing in Florida. They're racing all over. It's a nationwide deal.
Yeah.
And so, and for us to be going out there and racing with the best of the best, it's a pretty big accomplishment in my eyes,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really care about, being known or anything like that. That's not my goal. My goal is to win. My goal is to beat the best, and to beat the best, it's hard, cause these other guys, they're on the next move too. Like they're already looking for the next horse. They're already on to the next move. So, it's just, we'll just see how it goes, and then another thing too, with the racing community is it's a big family. Like it's when my mom got sick, I had a lot of donations I had a lot of fundraisers and I raised a lot of money. And I'm going to be honest with you, if it would not have happened for these guys that helped me and stuff, I probably wouldn't have been able to get through it because a lot of them donated a lot of money. They helped me. They knew my mom was sick. They came in, they said, "Hey, Mingo, let me do a fundraiser for you." And these are guys that I didn't even know. You know what I mean? One of the main reasons that I had with these guys that are helping me right now is because they were one of the first people that had stepped up and said, "Hey, let me help with your mom." They didn't even know who I was. They just, had knew me from the races, but they didn't care. They were being humble, and they were like, let me help you. I know that you can't do it alone. Let me help you. So these guys, they come together, they do fundraisers, and they do good things. So I kind of want people to know, because there's people that frown on match racing, man. There's people that are like, these guys are into the drugs. These guys are into the drinking. They're into all this stuff. But if you're really there and you're really behind it, that crap goes on, but that crap goes on at softball games.
Yeah.
That crap goes on at any other place, dances or whatever. So in my mind, this thing needs to, to me, it's like, I want them to kind of get a little feel of what happens and stuff like that,
Do you have, because I told a buddy of mine I was interviewing you, and I told him you were into horse racing, and then he kind of made a comment. He's like, "Well, I hope they treat the horses right." Now, I know that, anybody, horse racing has haters. We know that. Like, that's, everybody knows that. What are your thoughts on the treatment of animals? And because you seem like the kind of guy that really actually, like, you spent money on these horses. These horses help earn your livelihood. I feel like you're the kind of guy that respects the animal. What do you do when you see people come in that they're really just in it for the glory, maybe the money, but for them, like somebody that's willing to drop 30 grand on a horse and they don't know anything about it? I wouldn't be surprised if I found out they didn't know how to treat an animal. You know, like what do you do when you see that kind of stuff?
That kind of happens, and for them kind of people, whatever, if they hear me, you piece of shit, that's what I think. You know what I mean? If you're gonna go and buy an animal and not take care of it, then you ain't worth it. Sorry, you ain't worth a fuck. Excuse my language. That's just what I think. That's just how I feel. You know what I mean? Because these animals, to me, in my mind, it's like when we were kids, we get up in the morning or we do something. My dad would, hey, did you go out and you feed the horses? Hey, did you go out and feed the animals? And my dad we would not sit down and eat. We would feed the animals first. And he would tell me every morning, they can't feed themselves, son. They can't feed themselves. You have to take care of your animals. You know what I mean? You have to, because they can't feed themselves, and that's true. That's the truth about it. And my dad is real big into like me, he raised me to animals. Their health comes first, but there's a lot of guys that abuse it. It's just like with anything else, you can go get a 6-pack and somebody else is going to go get a 30-pack. Yeah. Just abuse it. And if I ever caught somebody doing that or acting that way, man, it pissed me off, because I love horses and I love the horse racing. And there's some guys that abuse it. I see it all the time. And if I see it, I'll tell them. People giving medicines to horses that they don't even know what they are, And then there's guys that love this shit. Like, they love it. This is their life. This is what they love, to all the way to, I went to Odessa, Texas and hung out with the biggest racing group in Texas, and I had went and seen how they had their stalls and everything. And I mean, beautiful. This place was prettier than houses. You know what I mean? These horses were living in nothing but luxury. And they had lost a horse. One of them had died in a big race, and they ended up having a funeral for the horse and burying the horse under a tree. I mean, that kind of stuff right there, that's the stuff I love to see. That's the way it should be. You know what I mean? Because these animals can't tell you, hey, my leg hurts. Hey, I don't feel good today. Hey, I got a stomach ache. And they don't know the next day they're going to go race. So a trainer has to know this kind of stuff. They have to have it. They have to feel it. You know what I mean? And we got them guys. I got them guys backing me up. I got a guy that'll call me any day and say, hey, man, hey, Mingo, they're not feeling good. They're something's not right. The other day, Javi told me, he said, hey, Mingo, this horse, he's not feeling himself, And I said, okay, well, we'll just wait and see how things go. Let's get him that checked, and we'll see from there. We'll see how things are going. And he said, okay, I'll let you know. Next day, a couple of days, hey, man, this horse right here, man, he's ready to roll. That's the kind of things that you need to have, the kind of communication you need to have with your team, because if not, you can lose a horse in a race. You can have a bad accident. And not just that, the horse having an accident, but you got a guy on top of him. You got a person that's riding these animals, and their lives matter, and you gotta take care of them, baby them. I baby them. So that's just how it is. It's how we do it. It's how I was raised.
That's dope, man. Well, I appreciate you stopping by the show, man. We are out of time, but my last question for you is, your ancestors, the Arandas, which, like I said, if you've lived in Elkhart in the last 40, 50 years, an Aranda. Are you mad that they picked that little patch of earth to call home? Or what are your thoughts on Elkhart as a whole, man?
Oh, man, I had a lot of bad experiences later on in life, so I try to stay at Elkhart as much as I can. To me, I don't go back, but that's home. You know what I mean? That's that's our home. So eventually, we all find our way back there, and we all hang out, we all see each other, and I'm proud to be an Aranda. I really am, man. That's my family, and I love every one of them people, every single one of them.
Even Chris?
So. Oh, man, that guy.
I just want to make sure, man. Well, dude, I appreciate you doing this.
Is he watching? Can you tell?
I don't know. Oh, yeah. Let's see if we got any. We got some comments. Hope Shant says, miss you, Mingo. Ashley Reed says, she can't hear. What are you talking about? Christina Dodson said, your mom was so sweet and kind. She was a very good person.
Oh, Christina, she was Lonnie Gilbert's daughter. That was another one. Race horses lot of horses with us, man. She grew up around us too. Her and Lonnie Gilbert.
And she said you ran around with racing goggles on when you were little.
See, she knows me. I always wanted to be a jockey.
Yeah, man. Race horses top notch here.
Oh yeah, that's my buddy right there. Race horses got the top notch care.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, I appreciate you doing
this, man.
Yeah, man. And let me last question: Where does this horse racing go down locally around the Elkhart area? Is it like Rolla, or where does like the races go in there?
Rolla, Southwest Downs, Rolla. You know Pondo's over there. Don't you know the Pondos? Mo Pondo.
Yeah.
Yeah, his family they run that racetrack over there. Good track, best round.
Awesome.
You had to catch a race sometime. You're in New Mexico, huh?
I'm in Phoenix right now, but there's actually there's a horse race track maybe like 3 minutes from my house for real.
Oh yeah, you're around. You're moving over there. You already turned 3 shades.
I know, man. I feel it, man. I want to go to those races, man, because they have them like all day long. Like it's like turtle something, but yeah, it's pretty dope, man. But I appreciate you doing the show, man.
Okay, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Your podcast. Best of luck with your racing, man, and take care, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, take care, bud.
Hey there. Thanks for sticking with me to the very end. This is a special portion of the show that I am so excited to be able to include. Here's a great big thank you to the new Patreon members at patreon.com/parentlesspodcast. Antonia A., Grace C., and Ann S. Thank you all so much for your support of Parentless Podcast. You are very much appreciated. Parentless Podcast is recorded in Phoenix, Arizona. Find us on social media and most major podcast platforms. Music recorded by Colin the Coco and the Revolving Birds. Studio and editing provided by Back Home Media. I am your host, Stephanie Relaford.